Good evening and welcome to the, yes, it is. Good evening and welcome to our February regular meeting of the Mililani-Waipi'o Melamanu Neighborhood Board. Tonight is Wednesday, February 25th. It is 7 p.m. We are here at the Mililani High School in H building, as well as we are holding this meeting online. I'd like to call this meeting to order and invite our members in the audience and those present to please stand if you're able to so that we could recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So just a quick issue of housekeeping. I just wanted to remind everyone that this is a public meeting. Again, I mentioned that this is hybrid, so we have people here in person, we have people online. So I do kindly request that you raise your hand, and I look around and I'm very attentive, and I look online as well, so that we can recognize our board members, our members of the community, and the public online. This meeting is intended to provide a space for open discussion, questions, and community input on these agenda items. I want friendly reminder that members of the public are welcome to ask questions and make statements during the designated testimony periods on this agenda. Board members are encouraged by OYP to ask questions on these agenda items. However, these questions reflected by board members are made as by their reflect their personal views and do not represent the official position of this board unless this board votes on those matters. So just want to make that clear. There were some questions. I did receive some comments from members of the public on that, and I just wanted to put out that clarification. So friendly reminder to all those participating, raise your hand, and let's conduct this February meeting with decorum and mutual respect. Without further ado, I want to recognize our neighborhood board assistant, Rachel, so that she can provide roll call and we can establish quorum. Thank you.
Thank you. When I call your name, please let me know if you're present. Bass?
Present.
Thank you. Karmati? Oh, I see you online. Thank you. And then Flores?
Here.
Thank you. Freed?
Here.
Thank you.
Present.
Thank you. Inouye? Okay, I know we had him absent for now. And then Ka'anehe? Okay, I'll come back around. I saw her online. Oh, so I see her, but her mic isn't working. I'll come back. And then Ka'apana Aki?
Present.
Thank you. Kim? Yeah, be absent for now. And then Knard?
Present.
Thank you. Pupu Ka'a? Okay, absent. Tasha Lee? I saw her online. We'll try again. Oh, there you go. Thank you. Marilyn Lee?
Here.
Thank you. Nagamine?
Here.
Thank you. Alex Ozawa?
Present online.
Thank you. And then Kate Ozawa?
Present.
Thank you. Park?
Present online.
Thank you. Rana?
Present.
Thank you. Ross?
Here. Present.
Thank you. Segura?
Present online.
Thank you. And Smart?
Present.
Present. And then Serzina?
Present.
Thank you. Williams?
Present online.
Thank you. Okay. And then let me just check it. Let me see. Okay, let's see. This is 19 members present for now. And I'll double check with the others to see if that's still online. Thank you.
All right. Welcome back, everyone. 19 members. It's great. We don't have problems making quorum at all. Okay, we're going to go dive right into monthly reports. I see that HFD is here. Come on down.
Thank you. My name is Captain Sean Ray. I'm at the Mililani Fire Station, and I will be presenting the statistics for the month of January. For fires, we had one structure fire, 4 nuisance fires, 5 activated alarms, no fire. And for medical emergencies, we had 93, 3 motor vehicle crash collisions. And for the fire safety tip for this month, it's an announcement that the Honolulu Fire Department has an update to its incident statistics reporting. Beginning January 1st, 2026, the HFD transitioned from the legacy National Fire Incident Reporting System to a modern National Emergency Response Information System to report fire and emergency incidents. A major difference between the two systems is how the incidents are coded and classified, which may result in fluctuations in the number of incidents in each category compared to prior reports. The Honolulu Fire Department is currently addressing these items to ensure seamless incident statistic reporting moving forward. In addition, one of the categories, motor vehicle collision with pedestrian, is currently unavailable due to the coding and classification. The HFD is working on a solution to resolve this. Further, the HFD reminds the public to call 911 first if you have an emergency. Do not drive to a fire station nearest your location. It is very possible that the fire company will not be at the fire station due to responding to other emergencies or performing other duties such as fire inspection, training, and educational activities. When you call 911, the operator will dispatch the closest available fire company to your emergency. Remember when calling 911 to give the operator your initial need, police, fire, EMS, and after you've been transferred to the appropriate agency, an accurate description of your need and your address location. The HFD is also, the HFD is also able to field 911 text messages. If you find yourself in a spot where you do not have good reception for voice communication, example, hiking, you can text your emergency to 911. Okay. Is there any questions for myself?
Thank you, Captain Ray. That's interesting. We can text 911 now. Members, any questions? Mary, go ahead.
And just for clarification, does texting go through when you don't have any connectivity?
I think if you have you have to have connectivity, but I think what it's what it's specifying is that you need a sufficient bandwidth in order to do voice. But I think if you have just minimal, you're able to get text.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's fine. I understand.
Any further questions from members or members of the public? Okay. Seeing and hearing none, thank you so much.
Did you have a copy of this?
I believe it was emailed, yes.
Okay.
Thank you so
Good.
much. Okay, next up, HPD. Welcome.
Aloha, good evening, everyone. I am Lieutenant Scott Vieira out of the Waipi'o Police Station. I'm the night watch commander, which starts at 6 p.m. till 7:30 in the morning. I'll go ahead and read our stats for the month. There was 1 assault, 0 robberies, there were 2 burglaries, 4 unauthorized entries into a motor vehicle, and 47 motor vehicle collisions. Total calls for service was 794. I'll go right into the tip of the month. February is Teen Dating Violence Awareness. So if you have teenagers, if you're a parent of one, if you're a teenager yourself, if you work with teens, these are just some things that they may be experienced or things to look out for. Physical threats or violence, unwanted sexual pressure, explosive anger, property damage, controlling behavior, isolation tactics, excessive monitoring, jealousy, and insecurity. For more information, you can visit honolulupd.org, or you can also call the Domestic Violence Action Center at 808-531-3771.
Thank you, Lieutenant Vieira. Members of the board, members of the public, are there any questions for Honolulu Police Department tonight? Okay, ma'am, why don't you go ahead first, and then we'll have Emil.
Hi, Rhonda, community. I just have a quick question. I don't know if I should ask you or not, so I'm just going to ask you. Where does the money, when you get fines, where does that money go to? Do you know?
I believe it goes into the state general fund. And it doesn't come to the police department.
Do you know how it's used? And does anyone know how the general fund is used?
Probably a question for the city and
Yeah,
county.
I'm sorry.
No, for the state.
Yeah, that would.
Yeah, so beyond that, I really don't want to misspeak. That's not my area of expertise, but I'm sure some politicians got to kind of take. But it does go into the general fund. I would imagine it's allocated throughout different programs, traffic safety or what have you.
One moment, Rhonda. I just want the announcement to clear. For the record, there's a Mililani High School event going on tonight for career education for juniors, and so we're hearing a announcement. Rhonda, could you just clarify that question? I don't believe people heard you in that second question.
Oh, just where does I don't know anything about the general fund, so where does that
Oh.
use for?
Wonderful, thank you.
I'm sure it's just one more question. I know there's a legislation. I don't know if it's already passed, but I know about pedestrians, new laws for increasing fines for pedestrians. And I'm certainly for safety pedestrians. And as a motorist, I certainly don't want to be the one to hurt somebody, but I am concerned. I am not concerned. Sorry, Ron. I do have a question. Is there any requirements for pedestrians? Is there any laws that require pedestrians to stop and look both ways before they enter a crosswalk? And as a driver, if I at a stop and have to cross over and, make a left-hand turn, let's say, I'm going to cross traffic, I have to wait to make sure I don't impede any traffic. I'm not expecting when I cross over and get into the next lane, I'm going to make sure I am not impeding that traffic. That oncoming car does not have to stop for me. And neither does the car coming this way or the other way. So I have to make sure I am able to clear as I go across and into traffic. Does a pedestrian, even if they're a crosswalk, let's say there's no lights, nothing to direct it, are they required to wait to make sure the oncoming traffic is clear, that they have enough time based on their condition? If they're elderly or disabled, do they have to make sure they have enough? They have made sure that traffic is not going to be impeded for them to cross over to that?
Okay.
Is there any requirement for them to stop and look?
Is there a question? So that's the question.
Yeah, is it a law?
Okay, I'll try to dissect. There's several parts to the question, but thanks for being here and bringing that up. It's probably a concern that we should all talk about. But so the first part was, please correct me if I'm wrong. Is there a law requiring the pedestrian to look both ways? Okay, so if it's at a marked crosswalk, there's going to be lights indicating when it. So I'm not understanding your
This is
question.
a debate. This is a public forum, and we're exercising.
Make sure I ask the question that there is no light. I thought I said that. There is no light because there's plenty of crosswalks where there's no light available. Let's say there's no light.
Thank you.
So there isn't any law that requires you to look left. I mean, you can't get cited for crossing the street without looking left and right. Am I answering your question correctly?
So what you're telling me is a pedestrian can step out into traffic and it not be their fault.
No, well, if you're if a pedestrian walks into the roadway and gets hit, it's their fault if they didn't look both ways.
Hold on. Rhonda, I really want to move on in the agenda.
Okay.
We have other members having questions, so I would like to have this question come to a close.
Okay, so, but so I guess I do feel there's a need for safety for pedestrians, but I have never ever heard the police or the state or the county or anything come out and telling pedestrians that is also, not only is it the traffic's responsibility to keep an eye on pedestrians, and I think they've done a good job of educating the public about that and drivers. They could always do more. But I also think there's a responsibility of the pedestrians, just like drivers. And I have seen so many times here in this state where my heart just flutters. And I feel like, oh my gosh, these people are going to kill themselves. Where pedestrians just, I'm seeing them and they just step out off of the curb. They have not looked left or right. They have not stopped. They have not paused. And they just go right into the crosswalk. And I've always been told that it's never the pedestrian. If they're in a crosswalk, the pedestrian always has the right of way. And I'm thinking that is a very scary position to say all the time, because you're putting these pedestrians in, I mean, to me, you're giving them a false sense of protection. And I think we need to do a better job. I would like to see a better job of making sure the pedestrians also know they have responsibility to traffic, that they can cross
you.
without impeding traffic.
Thank
and
you.
Be safe.
Makes sense. Yeah, so absolutely, and I agree. If you're crossing the street, it's 100% on the pedestrian's fault to make sure it's safe. You can be in the crosswalk and get hit and be right, but you'll be dead. So, yeah, so I mean, when I was in the traffic division, I spent 6 years in the vehicle homicide section, so we've dealt with a lot of issues like that. And in one of our classes, they talk about making it safer. I know you got a lot, Danielle, I'll try to make this quick, but they talk a lot about road designs, overpasses, so that you don't have to cross the street. And somebody came up and we thought it was ridiculous. They said, get rid of all crosswalks. And first, exactly, right? Why? But if you do that, the mindset is if you're crossing the street, it's 100% on you to make sure you get across there safely. I'm not advocating for that, but I'm just saying the mindset needs to be, the pedestrians need to be responsible for their well-being. You can't just be on your phone, there's a crosswalk and a crosswalk, and assume that you're in a safety bubble, because it doesn't work that way. So I hope I answered your question. I don't know if it was a comment or question, but that's.
Thank you. You have more questions, so buckle up, Lieutenant.
Okay, let's go.
Emil had a question. Go ahead, Emil.
Sure.
I'm just patiently waiting for the answer for the third time. What is the fine if somebody walks with the phone?
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up, because I was here when that came up, and maybe we didn't answer it correctly. Before coming tonight, I reviewed last week. So anyway, I'll tell you. If you are on the phone and walking in a crosswalk, first of all, it's revised ordinance 15-24.23, mobile electronic devices. No pedestrian shall cross the street or highway while viewing a mobile electronic device. That's a phone, computer, could be a tablet, iPad. It does exclude listening devices like an iPod. You can be okay. Now, the fine, it's a court tag, meaning if you get cited for that, you have to go to court, and the fine will be assessed by the judge. For first offense, the fine shall be not less than $15, so at least 15, but not more than 35, first offense. Second offense, within a year, minimum 35 jumps up to maximum 75. Third offense, within a year, minimum 75, not more than $99. So those are the fines, those are the sections. You guys can research it. I gave you the section. I know that it came up several times, so I meant to get to that. I apologize if we didn't answer it correctly the first couple of times,
Thank you.
but hopefully that's,
Thank you.
you're
Other
welcome.
questions, members? Marilyn, do you have a question? You emailed me a question. Okay. I will.
Thanks, Marilyn.
Okay.
We don't get that a lot.
Actually, so I will ask the question
Sure,
I was thinking
Danielle, go ahead.
I was going to ask. Marilyn and I were contacted by a Mililani resident and had some concerns about crossing the speeding. No, excuse me. What was it? Pardon me. Lani Kuhana
And Behula?
nearby the Sagios and the left turn, the left turn coming out of the Mililani Town Center. So as we know, this board passed and worked with the city and county to erect that signage, which bars left turns out of Mililani Town Center during a certain period of time on weekdays. And there continues to be Mililani, or I guess drivers coming out of Mililani Town Center, turning left during those times. And this resident had a very close encounter, which, you know, they're very concerned about their safety and the danger of these left turns. The resident is requesting for additional enforcement to pull over drivers turning left during that period of time, coming out of Mililani Town Center onto Lani-Pohana.
Okay, I'm sorry, I might have missed it. Was that occurring day and night? I would imagine both.
It is occurring day and night. However, the left turn restriction where you cannot turn left is during certain time periods. So that's the only enforcement opportunity for you folks.
I will definitely bring it up in lineup tomorrow and ask the officers to monitor, and I will pass it on to the day watch. That intersection, I think we can all agree, there's a lot of problems, the size of it. We had several OIC complaints, which are complaints that go up through the city, come back down to us. So we have to address it. And what I mean by addressing it, someone has to go out there, monitor it, take enforcement action, give warnings, and report back to our secretaries, who then prepares a written response. So we've had several OICs, not all for that left turn, but just different things in that intersection. So we will continue to monitor. I know that's a problem. It's a huge intersection, all kinds of things going on, very dangerous for pedestrians as well. So I will bring it up tomorrow with our guys and the day watch. I will pass that on.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Two more. I just get these emails from Mililani residents, so apologies. So two more. Another resident brought this up in the January meeting. I'm going to re-emphasize it. Resident asked again for additional, I guess, police presence, you know, in the patrolling for the Lani-Pa'a area down that street, Lani-Pa'a and Lani-Pohana. There's, it is a longer street, so there is some speeding on that street. So to just make sure that there's some presence and some enforcement there
Okay.
as well.
Speeding may
Yes.
the main concern there.
Yes. Final issue, I was contacted by Mililani residents are the issue of enforcement for signage. Signs on medians in the Mililani area specifically. So there are, you know, garage sale signs, I guess church services signs and whatnot. There was an individual in Mililani who confiscated some of those signs and also threatened an entity that they would take some of those signs. Could you clarify the enforcement of signage in Mililani, or I guess even generally, since it's a city and state law?
Yeah, so I know the Department of Transportation, the highways divisions monitor the signs, make sure it's not obstructing, and they keep that area clean. We don't really do any enforcement as far as them putting up signage. If it's blocking, if it's like a speed limit sign or like a pedestrian related sign and something, call us, because that's something we can address right then and there, take it down if it's a safety hazard. But signs that are up all the time, that's usually comes under, I believe, the DOT highways that's there.
So in the case that it's a city roadway, like Mehula Parkway,
Okay.
where the state DOT doesn't have jurisdiction over, but the city and county does.
Right.
And it's those medians, right? We have, you know, beautiful trees and grassy medians, and you do see quite a few signs. I believe that there has been some controversy at our sibling neighborhood board, or in the Mililani-Malka neighborhood board, where a board member brought signs to the previous meeting, saying that they were illegal and such. The signs that were confiscated, I guess, were in the Mililani town area, and there are community residents who are complaining about the inconsistency on enforcement for those signs, and whether it's appropriate for a member of the public to take those signs, or would that be even theft?
I guess it could be, it's somebody's property, but granted, it's not in their, it's someone's property, the sign is, but you can't leave it in the public and just have it sitting there without permission. So yeah, it's a theft if you take anyone's property, but the signs obviously don't belong there. So I guess they could make a report. I mean, it's kind of a weird situation.
Okay.
But yeah,
It's been quite the controversy for the last week.
yeah.
So
Does MTA give you guys any assistance with that? I'm not trying to pass the buck, but
they only enforce their own property.
the private.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So when it's a city and county roadway like Mehula Parkway, for example, no. Right.
Okay.
So members, any further questions? Skylar, go ahead.
Sorry, I gotta phrase this in a question. Can you thank HPD reserves for riding on public transportation systems and showing presence as part of their community service action? Are you willing to do that? Yeah, that's a question. Are you willing to thank HPD reserves for riding on transportation networks for the city and county?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And promote it some more properly.
Will do.
I see that Board Member Ann Fried has a question. Go ahead.
Not really a question. Point of information. I posted, Appleseed has done a great breakdown of how the general funds and how they're used. I don't know if the room can see that, but if they cannot, you can go online to Appleseed and you find that information. And I also posted a summary also available online of the pedestrian laws on Oahu. So point of information, that's it.
Thank you, Board Member Fried.
Thank you.
I believe that addresses Rhonda's question. So what we'll do for the record is we can put that in as references in the minutes so that Rhonda can access those links later. Okay, any other questions for HPD? Going once, going twice. All right, you're off the hook.
Thank you. See you guys later. Thanks.
Good night. Okay, next up, U.S. Army Combat Aviation Brigade 25th ID.
Good evening, everyone. It's a little, all right, cool. Good evening. I'm Captain Katie Kolb. I am the Public Affairs Officer with 25th Combat Aviation Brigade, and I have a couple talking points for you all this evening. I briefed it last month, but to reiterate, there is an upcoming job fair that U.S. Army Garrison is hosting. That'll be on March 17th right here at the Mililani High School in the cafeteria beginning at 8:30 in the morning and ending at 2 p.m. This is open to the public and there will be job offers and provisional hiring the day of the job fair. However, advanced applicants may go to www.himwr.com and click on the employment banner at the top. My next talking point is that it has to do with the training advisory. So as mentioned last month as well, due to the schedule of this meeting being on the final Wednesday of the month, most of the training has concluded already for February. However, if you'd like to be notified of the upcoming training advisories, they're typically posted the first couple days of the month, and you can request to be added to that distro by emailing usag.hawaii.comrel@army.mil. And then if there's any concerns about any training that's occurring, noise impacts, anything like that, please feel free to reach out to the community concern line. That number is 808-787-1528. And we appreciate everyone's patience as, we understand the impacts that training can have and try to mitigate this as best as possible. My next point is that there is an upcoming 10K run hosted by U.S. Army Garrison. This is going to be this Saturday, actually, February 28th. And it is a upcoming fun run at the scenic Kole Kole Pass. It's open to individuals with a valid DoD ID card. However, members of the public are welcome to participate and may obtain a visitor pass for base access in accordance with installation access requirements. And for more information on that event, please visit https://hawaii.armymwr.com. My final point is about the prescribed burns that will be upcoming at Schofield Barracks in April. So the Army will once again be conducting prescribed burns on the Schofield Barracks Training Range Complex during the following dates, predominantly April 13th through 19th. Prescribed burning is one of the most effective tools in managing the spread of wildfires and enhances the protection of endangered plants and animals. The Army has received approval from the Hawaii State Department of Health Clean Air Branch and has coordinated with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to ensure all state, federal, and Army requirements are met. Operations will only take place during daylight hours, and Army wildland firefighters will remain on site each night to monitor the area. For any questions, community members can call the Army's Public Affairs Office at the concern line previously briefed. However, one more time, that number is 808-787-1528, pending any of your questions.
Well, hello, Captain Cole, members of the board, members of the audience. Are there any questions for the U.S. Army? I see Anne has her hand up. Go ahead, Anne.
Yeah, aloha, everyone. Thank you, Captain, very much for your report. As a former public affairs officer myself, I appreciate the job you do. And I just wanted to say, as a backup to the question I'm about to ask, is I received the noise reports, which is great. I put it on the Nextdoor app. People really love it. If you could also give us things like scheduled burns, that would be appreciated as well. And so I will continue to post that on Nextdoor for our neighborhood. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Yeah. As of right now, it's just those dates as briefed for the prescribed burns. However, if there's any additional fidelity as those dates get closer, I'll be sure to let you all know and brief that in the relevant meeting.
Other questions, members of the board and audience?
Okay, so I'm gonna bring this up again. Can you work with board member Darsha to see if we can get individuals homeless help up on Camp Highway going from Mililani to Waipi'o, right hand side, right on Army Garrison, the area, because there's a moped and a shopping cart parked again in that corner. It's Army land that's right next on the south side of the park, right? I don't know if someone lives there again. I know we had a fire there like a couple months ago, and they all moved out, but it appears like there's a moped again there, as well as a bicycle with a shopping cart. It almost hit me on the way at 2 o'clock in the morning. So I just want to know if there's any way you guys can work together to get the homeless help out there again to give them some guidance and help. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. I can. I'll push that to the relevant authorities. However, could I get the name of that intersection one more time from you?
So it's not an intersection. So it's on Kamehameha Highway.
Okay.
Going from Mililani down the gulch into Waipi'o. So it's right before Central Oahu Regional Park.
Okay.
Right hand side, as you're going from Mililani to Waipi'o, there's a gate. And then right past that gate, there's a little nook on the right hand side. There's a sign there that says no parking. And that's pretty much where they typically park and go inside. And there's a rock there. And there's a path that leads down into the federal land for them to do. Darsha is very familiar with it.
Okay.
You let her know, she can gladly walk you through, and she has all the point of contact as well. And I know she's worked with your previous predecessor regarding this. And I'm just hoping you guys can send out somebody again. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Other questions for members of the board, members of the public? Chair has a question. In terms of and thank you for providing, again, I'm going to piggyback on Anne. Thank you for providing those noise advisories. Of course, in the January noise advisory, there was a disclaimer that during Kona winds and Kona storm systems, that there's a larger echo that happens during training of, especially mortar training, that the echoes are louder. Would you by hand have any information as to how many Mililani residents called with complaints regarding the loud noises in January during the training, during that period when there was the Kona low?
So I don't have that on hand, but that's really easy to get, and I can bring that to the next meeting or email you after this.
That would be very helpful because, yeah, it was extremely loud and a lot of the homes were shaking, especially pretty much anything westward of Kamehameha Highway. So I received enough complaints. I directed them to you guys, but I just wanted, it seemed like a substantial amount.
And to clarify, you're asking for the number of calls to that community concern line, correct?
Yes, regarding that training period during the Kona
Sure.
low. Yeah, so not a specific date, but maybe that week, and open it up to calls and emails.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I will get that for you.
I appreciate that. Any final questions? Okay, seeing and hearing none, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
Thank you, you too. Okay, next up we have Kathleen Pahinui of Honolulu Board of Water Supply. Come on down.
Thank you, Monty Hall. Or is that Bob Barker? Lucky, no main breaks to report this month, and we are getting to the close of our annual poster and poetry contest. And deadline for entries is this Friday, and we're hoping to get back on track and break 1,000 posters. We lost a little bit during COVID, and it's taken a few years to get back to that great level that we used to have. That's really all I have to report today. Oh, and if you haven't taken the Red Hill survey for the Red Hill Vi, please do so. I know we've been sending, the NCO sent the link around.
Okay, members of the board, members of the public, any questions for Honolulu Board of Water Supply tonight? All right, you got nothing.
Thank you. Have a great week.
You too. Okay, next up, Sherry Nakamura from the State of Hawaii School Facilities Authority. Welcome, Sherry.
Aloha, Chair and members of the board. I do have an update about the Mililani High School Teacher Workforce Housing Project environmental assessment. So the comment period for the draft EA closed on February 23rd, a couple days ago, and we want to thank this board for submitting very comprehensive comments. We appreciate that. And we also appreciate the comments that were sent in by individuals because we want to hear everybody's voice. Because the period only closed a couple days ago, it is going to take some time for PBR, the consultant who is handling the environmental assessment. So I don't have anything to report right now. There will be comments addressed. All the comments, I believe, will be addressed in the final EA. And I don't have a timeline right now, but I can certainly update this board when I have new information.
All right, thank you. Members of the board, members of the public, are there any questions for the School Facilities Authority? Sabrina.
What's the next steps in the progression of this project? Are we just waiting for the final EA? Are we going to the legislature for more funding? What are we doing in the meantime?
I know that the Pacific Housing is continuing with their work on pre-development and I want to say design, but you saw some of the renderings, initial renderings. As far as we're concerned, we do hope that the legislature considers some contribution for us, but there is no bill at the moment to specifically ask for that. So we're sort of in a holding period as well. Again, if there's anything significant or newsworthy to report, I'm happy to come back and report it to you all.
Any further questions? Sherry, could you elaborate on the response from PBR in regards to the traffic impact analysis and how they'll do a deeper dive on that?
So we're not sure how they will do it. They received all of the comments, and I know that this board did provide comprehensive comments about that. We haven't seen, I think they're going to address it in the final EAs. That's my understanding.
Okay.
Yeah.
They did email myself, which was distributed to the board members, about how their traffic engineering consultant, AECOM, is going to come out and do further site survey of the area and look into some of the requests or recommendations as to the potential of a traffic signal at that uncontrolled intersection.
I think because it was the board that provided the information, that information might have just gone to you. I wasn't aware of that.
Oh,
but,
okay.
But I'm glad that.
Well, we'll have it on the record. Yes.
Right. Okay.
Wonderful. So they are working on it, folks, and I believe that they're going to fold that information that they're doing during this time period into the final EA, and then you guys can come back and talk to us about that.
Right.
Great. Awesome. I don't think there's any more questions. So seeing none, thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Mahalo.
Okay. Next up, we have the approval of a meeting minutes. I'm going to recognize our secretary, Sabrina.
The minutes for the January 28th meeting were sent out with the agenda. I've received no corrections. I move to approve.
Second.
Rachel for the vote.
Okay. Does anybody have any amendments that they want to announce? Okay, we're hearing nothing, so we'll approve the minutes as written. Thank you.
Okay, minutes are approved as such. Okay, moving into community concerns. At this time, are there any members of the community who would like to come forward and express any comment or concern within decorum on issues that are not listed on tonight's agenda? Please raise your hand. Going once, going twice. Moving on. We're going to go to reports of chairs and board committees. Members, just wanted to share with you from my chair's report that I was contacted by some concerned individuals, as I've shared earlier, regarding traffic issues and speeding in the Mililani community area, as well as potential theft issues on, or even the, I guess, communication of taking Mililani or organizational signs on city streets in the Mililani town area. And so I've been working back and forth with the impacted organizations, as well as our colleagues at the Mililani-Malka Neighborhood Board. I do want to remind members that while we are all members of the neighborhood board, we do not have law enforcement power. So please, please do not take any of these signs or threaten to take the signs. And I believe that completes my report. Are there any questions for me? Okay, seeing none. We're going to move on to Kato Zawa for community partnerships and community outreach. Any report?
Very briefly, I shared a post that Chair Bass posted about ongoing training noise that was occurring earlier this month.
Members, any questions for Kate? Okay. Seeing and hearing none. I'm going to go on to community recognition and service awards. Josie.
Hi,
You muted yourself, Josie. Try again.
it keeps going off. I only got one request and I submitted to the chair for approval. Other than that, I have no report. Thank you.
We'll work on that. I'll contact you offline and put it on the March agenda. Great. Any questions for Josie for community recognition and service awards members? Okay. Seeing and hearing none, moving on. Skylar for community maintenance and walk audit.
Okay, so responses from last week. Meheula Drive for root exposures. DFM is currently working on it, and they're going to create they're performing first aid work. So they're not going to be digging up everything. They're just going to be doing as spot treatments as it goes. They are going to be starting on the lower portion of Meheula near Safeway and will continue their way all the way up to Mililani-Malka. They are aware of the situation on Meheula Parkway and the affected areas and are continuing working all the way through. The buckling pavement on Meheula Parkway, they're in that area right now, and they're going to do that as part of their first aid cleanup for the root exposure. The damage on the sidewalk for Huahelani, Lani Kuhana to Alapo'ai Street. Initial request was sent to DPP for them to inspect. Once DPP comes back with their findings, whether it's a city or whether it's a private individual, those individuals will be notified and of the violations. If the property owner chooses to, they can either repair it themselves or they can authorize the city and county to perform that work. If the city and county does report that work, the property owner will be billed when the work is complete. And I have one more request waiting a response. No other problem.
Wow. Members of the board, any questions for Skylar? Mary.
Okay, just before I came here, one of our residents wanted to compliment the repairs on Meheula, but one of the repairs, it's already falling apart and there's like a pothole, but they didn't tell me exactly where it is. And so, thank you, but check one of the spots. Thank you.
Any further questions for Skylar and his committee report? Sorry, this is just for board action. All right. We're going to move on to Trevor for Planning, Zoning, and Sustainable Development Climate Resilience Committee. Go ahead, Trevor.
Yeah.
Members who are online, just be aware that we are doing a temporary pause for the announcement at Mililani High School. Okay, Trevor, go ahead.
No report for this month.
The suspense was killing me. Members of the board, any questions for Trevor? My goodness. That was bad timing. We should have done that for Skylar's report. He would have had a lot more. Okay, next up, Ed for Transportation and Oahu MPO.
Meeting I will be attending online on March 4th and reading the agenda. It looks like they're finalizing the 2050 report for the Oahu Regional Transportation Plan. And I'll try to bring back some information. And there's another thing, I'm still trying to familiarize myself, and maybe I'll talk to Mr. Ross since he was chair before, but there are some things that I noticed, like 4 lanes opening up on Kauka, and it was tagged 2019 to 2029. So I'm just trying to figure out, has it been appropriated? When is it going? That's all in the plan, but I'll be discussing this with Member Ross. Thank you.
Members of the board, are there any questions for Ed on our transportation report? Okay, Ed, actually also coordinate for with Elise Carmendia, our board member, who is also a previous transportation chair.
Okay.
Yeah, she'll be a great resource. Right, Elise? She's online. Okay, we don't have Dennis here, so we're going to move on to Darsha, who's online for the Committee on Health, Houselessness, and Human Services. Darsha, any report?
Hi, just following up from last month. I know there was a concern that was brought up by our representative Amy Caruso regarding the number of service workers, outreach workers that are available for our area. So I did get in contact with her office. It sounds like it's not just the service workers, but also other agencies like CORE that are part of this count. So I'm waiting to hear back for some additional numbers for that. Sorry about that. For that resolution. Hopefully I can present that next month. And then also there was a concern, I got 2 concerns about houseless individuals for getting them connected with services. So I did send over those to our houseless outreach, Kealoha West Oahu. And then, oh, there was a question about how often we're doing the point in time count. So at this time, it's every 2 years, and they did it this past January. And we have to see for the future if it's going to continue on that cycle. And for the report, I think that was the last question. It is expected to come out sometime this summer. So whenever I see that report come out, I'll be happy to share the results as well as the specific statistics for our area. And that's all I have.
Thanks so much, Darsha. Members of the board, are there any questions for Darsha and her report? Okay. Seeing and hearing none, we're going to move on to Sabrina for Parks and Recreation, who has a big announcement this time. Go ahead.
Yes, the Honolulu City and County Departments of Parks and Rec released a press release this afternoon that the dog-friendly park initiative they were working on has resulted in the creation of 37 new dog-friendly parks. We were one of the 15 neighborhood boards that responded to their request. 18 did not respond, so they're very happy with us. However, their goal is to have 1/3 of the neighborhood parks in every neighborhood board be dog friendly. So we recommended 3. 5 would be 1/3 of the parks in our area, and we currently have 4. So they would like us to recommend 1 more. Their studies have suggested either 16 acres, Red Ropes, or Holaniali'i Neighborhood Park. So this is something that they'd like us to discuss as a board in the near future for the next phase of the initiative.
And Sabrina, could you remind us which are the three parks that are now dog friendly?
So our board recommended Mililani District Park, 10 acres, and Kipapa Neighborhood Park. And Waiena Neighborhood Park was already a dog-friendly park. So that's 4 in our neighborhood.
Okay. So actually, let's open up to questions. Members of the board, are there any questions to Sabrina for her committee report? Skylar.
Can we do like last time and do another vote and then get it to member Ozawa, who can post it on the Instagram and stuff like that, and maybe we can get on just the ones that.
The 3 recommended?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I can do that.
Sorry.
Yep.
Is that possible?
Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other questions? Yes, Mary.
I have a question. Is that survey just for us or is it for everyone in the area?
Well, the last time the survey was supposed to go out to as many people as it could. So we publicized it as best as we could. We didn't have control over who was responding from where. So it could have been people from all over the island. I think the more responses we get, the better demographic we'll have of just dog owners in the area and the parks that they would be using. So I don't think we should limit the responses.
My question is mostly how are you getting it out to? Because one of the parks is in the neighborhood that I'm in, and I don't want it just dog owners to be surveyed because it's the sports people who use that, and it's important they get a say. So
Yeah, I think we provided a link before and a QR code to pass along to everybody you possibly can. Anybody in your email contact list to forward and take the survey.
But the link is where? That's what I'm.
Okay, so
it will be given to Kate. Kate will put it on Facebook and Instagram. And then I can have Rachel email it out to the board members and then you can forward it through your email.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to know where to direct people.
And I really want to thank Sabrina for her work last time on this because she did yield about 130 responses. And that was, I mean, this is a volunteer board. We're not paid. We are elected to serve the Mililani community, but she did that in her spare time. And I want to really recognize that leadership. And in turn, let's cast a wider net. Absolutely. Let's get more than 130. So when we get that, those graphics going, let's disseminate that information and see what the people of Mililani want. Any other questions? Okay. Great. We're going to move on. Last but not least, Marilyn for education.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. I don't have a long report this week. I'm sure you're happy. But we did have 2 lost school days this week. The day of the storm on Monday and the day Friday because it was the day of the Teachers Institute. I think it's significant when two school days are lost. I'm not sure how much time that is in the state school calendar for storm days, but I think it's a concern. And I don't know if they're going to be made up. In any case, all's well that ends well. And we didn't suffer a lot in Mililani. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Members of the board, are there any questions for Marilyn and her report? Okay, seeing and hearing none. We're going to move on to elected officials reports, and it's only 7:54. My goodness. Is this a record? Okay. I'm manifesting good things in a quick night, everyone. Okay, next up, we have Congressman Case's office. I don't know if I see Nestor online. He's certainly not here in person. Okay, we're going to move on to the governor's report. And Tony is here representing the governor's office. Welcome, Tony.
Thank you for having me. Now, you guys have like set the bar now. I have to go short and I have lots of answers for you. That means
we want the answers for the record.
I know. It's just the Gov's office actually gave me a lot of detail and I was like, oh, I've got 4 pages worth here. I'm going to try to cut down just so that we can like make a record tonight, I guess. So I believe it was board member Mary Smart. You asked about the governor's state of the state and tax cuts and why. So they gave me a lot of info. I'm just going to read it off. Lower income and working families continue to face financial strain due to increasing costs of housing, food, utilities, and other essentials. So the governor recognized that a significant number of federal tax changes have recently occurred, providing benefits to middle and higher income households. This is why he's targeting relief for low income and working families. He's proposing changes to the tax plan to shift towards providing more relief to low income and ALICE households while still providing a historic amount of tax relief for all residents. This year, $1.5 billion will be given out to Hawaii's families in the form of tax relief. And over the next 5 years, a total of $6.3 billion will be given out to Hawaii residents with the proposed tax plan. The new state proposal, it's GOB 06, relating to income tax, is it has a freeze to tax cuts under Act 46. So under this proposal, all relief currently in place will continue for all families, but they're proposing to modify future tax reductions to target low income and working families, especially for households earning below $250,000. One of the items they're proposing is to provide more direct relief to working families making under $250,000 who pay for child or dependent care. In simpler terms, under the proposal, the child and dependent care tax credit is increased, so families earning $150,000 or less can claim 50% of their eligible child care expenses with a gradual phase down for higher incomes. They also are looking at extending the sunset date of Act 163 from 2027 to 2032, and Act 163 doubles the food and excise tax credits and the earned income tax credit. These tax credits target relief for the most vulnerable population, and for many households, this will translate to hundreds or even thousands of additional dollars back in their pocket every year. So that was the answer to that one. You also asked if there was any legislation coming for homeowner association fees to bring them in check. Was that, yeah, that was you, yeah? Oh, sorry, Rudy, okay. So there were several bills at the beginning of the year, beginning of session, and they were actively being considered to address this issue, but only one has made it this far. And it's House Bill 1513, House Draft 1. It passed second reading on the 20th of February. So it aims to address the rising cost of property insurance for condominiums and associations by providing financing for critical maintenance and repairs. So it builds on a 2025 act that establishes a condominium loan program to help buildings become more insurable. There's a lot of technical stuff here, but it basically directs bonds into the condominium loan revolving fund. It appropriates funds from the Hurricane Reserve Trust Fund to cover initial debt service payments for the bonds, and it's going to be administered by the Hawaii Green Infrastructure Authority. There's one other bill that's been proposed and is moving, but is not necessarily about association fees. It's SB 2037, and it's about attorney fee limits. So it passed second reading on the 19th, and it aims to limit attorney fees in condominium disputes by capping them at 25% of the underlying fines and restricting when associations can charge owners of units for legal fees. So it specifically prohibits condominium associations from charging attorney fees on fines unless deemed collectible. There are plenty of others. I'm not going to go through them all because they're not moving, but I'm happy to talk to anyone about it afterwards if you want. I believe there was also mention of vaccines and if the state is still a member of the West Coast Health Alliance. I think that was Maryland. So Hawaii is a part of the West Coast Health Alliance still, and the Department of Health let me know that through this collaboration, DOH continues to rely on evidence-based guidance, regional data, and the state's immunization guidance is grounded in scientific evidence, aligning with established clinical best practices. So basically, yes. And then Emil, I think you asked about the light boards above the H1. So the Department of Transportation posts incident information, construction information, travel times, My Lady Silver, Amber Alerts, and other travel information such as tsunami evacuations whenever necessary. When they don't have stuff like that, then they will put up highway safety messages, which are preempted by those other more emergent messages. At this time, that's how they're able to use those boards, by putting up anything that is traffic or highway related. So in order to get people to, pay attention to the boards during those times when there's nothing up there, they're doing creative branding, marketing type things. So that's what I have.
Thank you, Tony. Members of the board, are there any questions for Tony and her report from the governor's office at this time? Emil, go ahead.
So, okay, so what if when I drive and read those messages, it's like, I don't want to watch that anymore. So when there be important message, I might be just ignoring it. So, I mean, I think it's okay if there is no message. They have nothing to post because it's distraction for the drivers. But one more question I had was about the painted cam highway here. Did you ask the Department of Transportation how they did it? If they spent taxpayers' money on it?
No, I think it was answered, wasn't it?
I mean, it was explained why it happened. That Senator Kidani was assisted.
Hold on. So Trevor, you're going to answer that for Senator Kidani's office? Okay. Next question.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, I see that Anne has her hand up online. We'll go with Anne and we'll follow up with Skylar. Go ahead, Anne.
Yeah, I just hope that some of this legislation that is relief for our vulnerable families makes it. And could you please explain for the board, because I'm sure some people don't know what this means, what ALICE is?
Oh gosh. It's low income families, but I can't remember what the ALICE is. I can go look.
Asset limited income
constraint
something. Asset limited income something.
Income constraint employed, I believe.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's low income households pretty much.
So asset limited, income constrained, but employed is ALICE.
But also above the poverty line. So these are people who would not
300%.
make it otherwise. Yeah.
Thanks, Brandon. Any further questions? Skylar.
So I had a member. Anyway, on the H1 off ramp to H2 on the far right hand side, there's a brand new HDOT right turn lane that leads directly towards Sam's Club, like Pearl Highlands, but it's going from westbound to eastbound, right? You know that U-turn. Anyway, there's a sign now that says city bus only. And it looks like it was put in by HDOT or DTS. I don't know, but the member wanted to know why the public is not allowed to use that road to get to their house or anything else like that, or where they live in that general area as well, if they're visiting Mililani going back there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I didn't catch what direction by Pearl Highlands.
Okay, so when you're coming down, okay, so the easiest way is when you're coming down Kamehameha eastbound towards Pearl Highlands, past LCC, right? There's right before you hit the turn right towards LCC, on the on the far right hand side, there's a U-turn that gets you back onto H1 westbound and H2 northbound. But then you stay in the far right hand side, there's a new road that was just created that makes a U-turn to take you back eastbound, that gets you right in front of the road towards the junkyard and Pearl Highlands and that road. Yeah. No, it's before Acacia.
Yeah.
Koala Street. So they want to know why now they're not allowed to use that road to get to the Pearl Highlands station, to Pearl Highlands Mall, and they have to go all the way down to Acacia to turn left to come all the way back up, because it says He said it was bus, it said bus only lane. He said it was a bus only lane that was created.
Okay. Check.
Further questions for, oh, go ahead, Mary.
Okay. I want to thank you for the updates that you gave me, but I do have some continued questions about the finances because I brought an article this time about the State of the Union, and it was quoted in 2025, the federal government's severe cuts and other actions took over $3 billion out of our state's economy, leaving us with unforeseen budget shortfall. Green said, so to meet all our responsibilities and our commitment on affordability, I'm proposing there be no changes to our tax cuts in 2026. These and all previous tax cuts will be completely preserved, but that we will pause tax cuts planned for 2027 through 2029. Has that changed based on what you told me? And also you reported we had 1 billion in savings, thanks to what we've been doing in the state, but this says we had 3 billion losses. So that would net out to 2 billion losses.
So the freezes that you're mentioning, he said that they're proposing to modify future tax reductions to target low-income families and working families for people who make under 250,000. So there is no change to 2026, but there will be changes coming.
Okay, but not a total cut of all the.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Any final questions for the governor's office, members of the board, members of the public? Okay. Seeing and hearing none. Thank you so much, Tony. Okay, I got an email from the city. Unfortunately, Jocelyn is double booked tonight. So the city has sent me a memo of record. I've distributed to Rachel. I asked her to send it on to you guys, but she's probably been a little busy setting the meeting up tonight. I'm just going to read out the department issue follow-up, and that's in relation to Member Ka'anehe's question, where on for the issue of the red light on Cam Highway turning left to Ka'uka Boulevard stayed red for 15 minutes. Member Ka'anehe experienced a situation where the left turn signal from Cam Highway to Ka'uka Boulevard remained red for approximately 15 minutes, while other signals continued cycling normally. She was concerned for public safety, contacted 911 to request assistance with traffic direction. The responder refused to send an officer, and she was advised that an officer would respond when available, though no specific time frame was provided. Her question to HPD and the city was, how can community members request traffic direction assistance from HPD when a traffic signal or control device is malfunctioning? Can the light be looked into if it hasn't yet? Member Ka'anehe, the answer from the city is that community members may request assistance from HPD when a traffic signal or control device is malfunctioning. Please call 911 and an officer will be sent to the location as soon as he or she is available. Unfortunately, HPD dispatch was not able to locate the 911 call made by you due to the limited details provided. I am not available for questions on that. Members of the board, if you do have questions for the city and county in lieu of Jocelyn's absence, please send it to Rachel and she can relay that on to Jocelyn. Okay. Next up, we're going to move on to Councilmember Val Okimoto's office.
Hi, good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, board members, public. I'm Aaron with the Office of Councilmember Okimoto. I'm gonna try to keep this fairly short. Budget briefings begin March 9th. Committee meetings were held from February 3rd through the 5th. Budget passed out on second reading, Bill 1. They passed out on third reading, Bill 76, and reported out for passage on third reading, Bill 77. We did speak with DTS this week, and we made a formal request that they put some money aside for the elevator at the town center. We also asked HPD uh, to enforce some of the expired safety and registrations throughout our district here. On between January 28th and February 9th, they had their vehicles out and issued 116 citations, 60 for expired safety and 56 for expired registrations. I can take any questions back or if any questions.
Members of the board, members of the public, are there any questions for Councilmember Okimoto's office? Catherine.
Yes. I was wondering if Councilmember Okimoto surveyed her constituents regarding her support of the extension of the rail to go to UH.
In terms of a mailer or something like that, or just speaking with the general public?
No, her constituents in the community.
Yes.
Like, I guess part of Pearl City and Mililani.
Oh, yes, in a sense, yes. There was no formal mail or anything like that, but she speaks with her constituents every day about varying issues.
Okay, further questions? Actually,
And
could you?
can I
oh,
just?
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Can I just one thing? The extension that was basically they were giving the authorization of to study the extension. It wasn't issuing any monetary dollars towards an extension. It was if they if they were going to extend it, they still need to get approval from the council as well. So if that's what you're talking about.
Thank you, Aaron, for the clarification. Would you please clarify in more specificity? I didn't say that right. Could you please clarify the appropriation request for the Mililani Transit Center's elevator? That was a pretty concerning issue for our board and our board members.
Yes. So the initial issue was I think they quoted about $1.5 million to fix that. I'm not sure if it was a total overhaul or what exactly they were planning on doing there. They said they wanted to get closer to the budget, so they know exactly how much money they needed for it. We're now quoted at 250,000. And we again, the council member has formally requested that they have a line item for this specific issue for the upcoming fiscal year.
Okay, and could you remind us of the awarding of money and the timeline to fix that repair?
We don't have a schedule yet. That first off, the money has to be set aside or then allocated towards that. And I'm sure it's going to be something similar to the CIP process where it has to go out for bids and 3 or 4 more layers of red tape.
Okay, can we try to expedite that since that is an
Yes.
ADA issue and concern
That is
from our
one of our major concerns.
Thank you. I see that Anne has her hand up. Go ahead, Anne.
So to clarify, line item in this year's budget?
This one upcoming, yes. I think of because the initial expense was so large, they didn't have the extra, as they said at a few months ago, $1.5 million, and it's now been pared down to 250,000.
Okay, further questions from the board and the public? Mary, followed by Kate. Go ahead, Mary.
Okay, and I'd like to know, is there allocation of funds for the study on the extension of the rail?
Again, the budget briefings start March 9th. We haven't even gotten into that portion yet. So currently, no.
Okay, does there have to be another approval after you find out how much it costs or that?
Yes, that has to go through the council once again.
Okay,
depending
and
on-
that's to pay for the study. I'm looking for.
No, Hart was looking for the approval to go ahead and do that. Yes, once they decide they would like to study something, they're going to have to get that approved as well.
Okay, but right now we don't know how much it would be.
There's not anything to study currently.
Okay, Kate, your question.
Hi, I'm looking in your newsletter. It says you guys are going to do road resurfacing. I was hoping slash wondering if that included anywhere near Mililani Cemetery by any chance?
Again, the cemetery isn't the city's Kuleana, but around there, I can check to see what the schedule looks like.
Thanks.
I'm going to have a follow-up to that question. Can you be specific on to which roads you're budgeting to resurface? It says 8 million for Mililani, but what specifically?
Yeah, there's a specific schedule. And there's plenty of roads, so I'll have to get that for you.
Yeah, please email it and we'll distribute it to members. Thank you. Final questions for the council member and her office? Seeing and hearing none. Thank you so much, Erin.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Okay, you too. Next up, we have Councilmember Wire's office. I see Kelly is online. Welcome, Kelly.
Hello, Chair, members of the board. Kelly Anaya from Councilmember Matt Wire's office. Should be pretty quick tonight. Just wanted to update everyone, but I'm sure you already heard the Kamananui agribusiness and gondola reconsideration hearing. DPP was granted their 30-day extension. The applicant has concurred that additional time is warranted for DPP to review all of the testimony that was received. Thank you again to the Mililani-Waipi'o Neighborhood Board for supporting the North Shore Neighborhood Board on this matter. Couple legislative updates. Bill 4, which would strengthen incentives to build affordable rental housing. Councilmember Wire co-introduced this bill with Councilmember Okimoto to strengthen the city's incentives for construction of affordable rental housing. The city's current existing subsidies and grant programs are designed to support these projects, but the current monetary amounts are not keeping up with the rising costs of construction. The bill passed first reading in January and has been referred to the Zoning and Planning Committee. And then Bill 54 passed third reading last month. This is for the bus fare increase, which means that the annual passes, the youth passes, monthly passes, visitor passes, handyman rides, and an additional fee for cash payments will all be going up. Councilmember Wire voted no on this because he feels that raising the bus fare places a real financial burden on working families. And that's all I have for tonight. If anyone has any questions for Councilmember, I can take them back.
Thank you, Kelly. Members of the board, members of the public, are there any questions for Councilmember Wire's office? Right, seeing and hearing none. Have a good night.
Thank you. Same to you.
Okay, I see next up we have Trevor Nagamine for Senator Kidani's office.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, members of the public. Trevor Nagamine here on behalf of Senator Michelle Kidani tonight. So just some brief highlights from her newsletter. So just highlighting some of her bills that are moving along in session tonight. One of her bills that was passed by the Education Committee and is now set for hearing by the Senate Judiciary Committee is SB 2611. This authorizes the Department of Education to deter violent misconduct on school premises with penalties up to and including, banning people from school premises for their lifetime. Some other bills that are currently pending in hearing before either the Judiciary Committee or the Ways and Means Committee are SB 2612, which states that DOE and its employees shall be immune from civil or criminal liability if they need to assist the student with administering medication outside of certain circumstances. So, for example, it would not include liability if it includes like gross negligence or willful or intentional misconduct, things like that. There's also SB 2614, which authorizes the department to award a high school diploma to qualified veterans from either the Second World War, the Korean War, or the Vietnam War. Basically, this is something that was already in law. I believe it was originally passed in 2012. However, that law sunsetted in 2020. And so this is just to put that back onto the books so that the department can continue doing this for whoever else may have been affected who may still be out there. And then lastly, there's SB 2615, which lowers the floor for the cost of a school lunch from one half of the cost. So DOE is allowed to charge their for a school lunch based off the cost of. Oh.
No report.
Okay, at least that's the last one. Anyway, SB 2615. So basically, the price that DOE charges for a school lunch is tied to the cost to actually prepare that lunch, and so this would lower the statutory floor from one half of the cost to one quarter of the cost. Other than that, I do have responses from last month's meeting. So for a meal, you want to know the dollar cost for the murals that were painted along Cam Highway by Seaview Crestview. There was no direct cost to the state of Hawaii because basically DOT received a grant to do this project. However, I don't have any more information as to whether this is like a private grant or a state grant. So I mean, if you want, we can try to follow up with HDOT on that. For Catherine, so okay, so for the hiring of numeracy coaches, there's a bill, there are actually two bills that were introduced this year to establish like a numeracy coach program within the department. The Senate bill didn't move. However, there was a House bill introduced by Representative LaChica, HB 1781. That's currently moving through the House, and right now it's pending a hearing in front of the House Finance Committee. So basically, this is just to assist, this is to establish a program to hire coaches to assist teachers, particularly for students who have a condition called dyscalculia. This is kind of like dyslexia, except instead of affecting your ability to read, it affects your ability to do arithmetic, do math, things like that. So that's like the primary purpose of the numeracy coach program. And then for Darsha, asked if it would be possible to set up opportunities for Mililani students to meet with PBS similar to the Ho'akea Honolulu event. Okay, so basically, the Polynesian Voyaging Society, their Ho'akea program is available to fifth graders across the state of Hawaii, and they do conduct this program with Mililani students. However, the reason why you don't see Mililani students is the newsletter is basically that PVS extended an invitation to Senator Kidani to come and basically come see this program, see it as what they do. And the date that worked was the date that they were with the students that you saw in the newsletter. I mean, it would have been nice. It would have been great if she was able to come out when the Mililani students were there, but unfortunately, that just wasn't really feasible to schedule. Okay, I think that's about it. I'm happy to take in questions.
Members of the board, members of the public, are there any questions for Senator Kidani's office? Okay. Catherine, followed by Emil.
Trevor, is that the same included in this SB 2615 about providing free lunches to all students regardless of their the family's income?
Yeah, so SB 2615, so the free school lunch program, that's going to be phased in over a number of years. And so as of right now, school lunches are not free to all students. Basically, there's going to be an initial step where in addition to whoever is required under federal law to receive a school lunch, there's one threshold that's, I believe it's tied to a family's income relative to the federal poverty level. And so then it will kick in for them. And then a couple of years after that, then it will be extended to all students in the state of Hawaii. However, so this bill at the moment would only affect for the price of school lunches until that program takes full effect, which will be a few years from now. I don't remember exactly when offhand.
Emil.
Yeah. Part of my question was also if the community was consulted before they painted the whole wall.
No, we don't really have information as to what outreach HDOT did beyond reaching out to students in the area. So I mean, again, this was a program that HDOT conducted with the students of various schools in Mililani and Waipi'o to paint the mural. And I don't know offhand if they did any outreach beyond that.
Can you find out if they like, because that's different neighborhood board, yeah. So I wonder if they announced it to the neighborhood board before they did the painting. But anyway, if you can follow up, thank you.
Okay.
Any further questions for Senator Kidani's office from members of the board or members of the public? Okay. Seeing and hearing none, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next up, we got Charles Miller, who is online. He's going to be providing the report for Senator Dela Cruz. Welcome, Charles. You're on mute. Okay, we're seeing some technical.
Sorry.
There you
Sorry,
go,
can you hear me?
Charles.
Sorry, I had to fix my mic. I'm so sorry, Chair. Good afternoon, Chair and Board. Charles Miller here from Senator De La Cruz's office. Just before I give my report, I just want to quickly introduce one of our session staff, Diego Ortiz, who will be helping with constituent concerns and attending input boards. So Diego, if you want to go ahead and just give a brief introduction to yourself.
Sorry,
He's
Rachel.
having
I already sent the request.
Okay, so it appears that our webmaster sent a request to unmute Diego.
Okay, it works now. My bad. Hi everybody. My name is Diego Ortiz. I started as a Hele Imua intern about 6 months ago, and recently got hired as a session staff as a legislative aide for the senator. Just a quick introduction about myself. I graduated high school from Kamehameha, and I currently go to the University of Hawaii at Manoa. So, nice to meet all of you.
Welcome. Go ahead, Charles.
Perfect, thank you. So the first thing, to Senator in the district, Senator today attended the LMW Complex Milken Teacher of Promise celebration that honored Mililani Middle School counselor Taylor Mayamura. And then Senator De La Cruz also attended and spoke at the groundbreaking for the first Ina Kitchen in Whitmore. And then today was the first Food and Product Innovation Day at the Capitol, and then tomorrow is Egg Day at the Capitol. And then where we are at the legislative session, the first lateral was on February 20th, and that means that Senate bills must be referred to their final committee in the Senate. The Ways and Means Committee, which Senator De La Cruz chairs, had their first hearing on February 19th and will continue holding hearings until next week. And then I just want to quickly highlight two of Senator De La Cruz's bills. SB 2802 appropriates monies to establish a bachelor's degree program in education and in agricultural science at the Leeward Community College. And then SB 3281 establishes a criminal offense of promoting an illegal electronic gambling device and authorized civil penalties and actions relating to premises on which illegal electronic gambling devices have been used. And I'm happy to take any questions or concerns from the chair and the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. Members of the board, members of the public, are there any questions for Senator De La Cruz's office at this time? Okay, seeing and hearing none. Thank you for your report.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. We're going to move on to Representative Matsumoto, who's attending also online tonight. Welcome.
Good evening. Yes. So you should have gotten from my staff and then also online my newsletter, as well as we have the bill mailer that I was telling you guys all about last month. So you can look through at all of the bills again that were introduced. One of the biggest things that I want to highlight, both in the bill package mailer as well as the newsletter, is we have two really important dates. On March 12th, we're having our annual legislative town hall. That's from 6 to 8 p.m. at Mililani-Waipi'o Elementary School. And then on March 9th, we are doing our annual Capitol Talk-In Tour at the Hawaii State Capitol. That's at 10 a.m. That March 19th, 10 a.m. And again, that's during spring break. So anybody can come, please bring your kids. It's a time where you get to do a tour of the Capitol, as well as see a legislative session. We do ask if you can RSVP, so you can scan the QR code, or if you're watching, you can go to repmatsumoto.com. And of course, there have been a lot of events at the Capitol and in the community. But with that, and there's been also PBS Insights, Civil Beat Cafe. We did a Hawaii News Now Sunrise interview. All of those things you can watch on our YouTube at Rep Matsumoto, and that will complete my report for this evening.
Thank you, Representative. Members of the board, members of the public, are there any questions for Representative Matsumoto tonight? Rhonda, come on down.
Hello, Rhonda from Community. Again, I'm sorry if I don't pose my questions correctly. I'm still new and figuring out how to do this, but and this might be off, maybe not directed. I'm not sure if I'm directing this to the right person, but the last statement made me think of something. I know there's some board that's looking at gambling in the state. Is that, does anyone know? Is that something I can ask you about, Matsumoto?
Do you know what would be probably best is if we have a conversation offline, and we can, if you want to reach out, you can call me at my office. And did you want to talk more about?
I just want to make a point.
that?
I just want to make a statement. Like, I think getting gambling here, casinos in the state of Hawaii would be a big, big mistake. I was stationed in Biloxi, Mississippi before the casinos. It is a whole different world. If you take any pride in your Aina here in Hawaii and the views and your beaches and access to your beaches, let me tell you, those casinos come in, you will not see your beaches. You will not have access. You'll have like 3 slots that you as the community can go to see your beaches. So I just want to make that point. I think it's a big mistake. And I know the board is packed with pro gambling people. No, I say no. Thank you.
So I'm sorry, hold on. I just need to clarify. When you say the board is packed by pro gambling.
It was on the news that it sounded like they said the news, when I saw it on the news.
You're not referencing this board.
No, not this board. I'm sorry. The board that's supposedly checking on how, not this board. The board that's supposed to be up in somewhere saying, hey, should we have?
I'm unfamiliar with a board on that. Representative Matsumoto, are you aware of a board?
I'm not quite sure what we're talking about. Sorry, we've got I got the kids here today. So I'm not quite sure what we're talking about, so we can take it. Okay, we can take that offline. But yes, I'm happy. So you can call my office at 808-586-9490 or Rep Matsumoto at capital.hawaii.gov. Happy to check into that, but not quite sure what we're talking about. So sorry about that.
Thank you so much, Representative. Any further questions for Representative Matsumoto? Okay, seeing and hearing none. Thank you so much. You can tend to your children. Okay, I see that Tosa's online for Representative Lachiko. Welcome, Tosa.
Aloha, Chair Bass, members of the board, members of the community. Tosa here in the new year. I'm looking forward to assisting in any way possible. And I hope you all had a wonderful start to 2026, as I wasn't here last month for the January neighborhood board. Representative Lachika sent her aloha and apologies for her absence tonight. She was sent by Speaker Nakamura to a NCSL Legislative Policy Academy for Artificial Intelligence in North Carolina. As we are in the start of our mandatory 5-day recess. However, I am here to share her updates. I do have a few, so I will try to go fast. I have dropped a few links in the chat. I ask that you kindly review them at your earliest convenience. The first link takes you to our newsletter. The second link takes you to our district updates. And the last one takes you to her bill status update page. As we do move to the legislative session, as everyone has been speaking tonight, I do want to highlight several of Representative Lachica's priority measures, which are focused on student safety, academic success, and student well-being, as she is vice chair of the Education Committee on the House side. So the first bill being HB 1782 relating to artificial intelligence for the protection of minors. This establishes safeguards, protections, oversight, and penalties for interactions between minors and artificial intelligence companion systems or conversational artificial intelligence services. A lot of big words, can't tell you what they all mean, but anything probably related to ChatGPT or the alike. So if you have any questions on that, please feel free to give us a call. The next one is HB 2186, which is relating to crosswalk safety. So I know that there were a few discussions earlier tonight in regards to pedestrian safety. So I do want to note that we have this bill out. It is in its last stages. And this bill it strengthens protections to improve pedestrian and student safety near roadways and school areas. So this bill would enforce a stop and remain stopped when anyone is in the crosswalk law, which is enforced in other states. However, we are in the process of trying to figure out if that is the best step. But again, it is in the last stage of its bill cycle. So if you are interested, there will be testimony, I believe, this upcoming Tuesday. However, bill notices or hearing notices have not been dropped yet. So we will find out when we find out, but we will share that information to anyone who has signed up for her newsletter. So if you are interested in finding out more about the relating to crosswalk safety bill, we ask that you please visit her website and register to receive those updates. Her next bill is HB 1779, which is another bill that we've been talking about relating to free school lunches. So this would provide universal free school meals in 5 years, starting in the 2029-2030 school year, to ensure all students have access to nutritious food. We also wanted to send a shout out to the members who have taken the time to submit testimony. Your engagement truly makes a difference. And then we did have a few things also within the district. So additionally, I would like to provide an update regarding the interstate cleanups over the last several weeks and concluding on February 19th for Kipapa Gulch. So there have been a lot of complaints of the area and different things that have been brought to our attention. So operations have been conducted in collaboration with the Hawaii Department of Transportation, the Honolulu Police Department, Kealoha West Oahu, and the United States Army Garrison to address the area and improve overall safety and conditions. HDOT with their contractors, which is HTM Contractors, hauled away 1 truckload of metal debris and 3.5 truckloads of mixed trash and wood. The total was close to 22.5 tons or 45,000 pounds of trash, which was removed from the encampments both on the ridge and under Kipapa Gulch Bridge. As always, mahalo to the community for letting us know. We will continue to do our best to help navigate this important community issue and try to get everyone the help and services and dignity that they deserve. We also wanted to follow up on 2 updates that were brought to our attention. The first was from community member Miss Rhonda, and the second was from member Smart. So Miss Rhonda, we had reached out to the state librarian's office in regards to your suggestion about using Hoopla and received some updates to provide to you. The Hawaii State Library currently uses and prefers a pay-per-slip model. During their review of Hoopla, they found that it would be too costly to use a pay-per-use versus having the rights to the book to rent out. Additionally, they found out that because Hoopla creates collections, you only have access to the titles that they current, but the book selections don't necessarily support what readers in Hawaii are reading. However, they do appreciate all library user opinions and your continued support as they continue to grow. Member Smart, we were able to speak with DOE and confirm that they are still using Common Core Math. They shared that Common Core Math is the standard for schools, however, implementation varies. And as mentioned by Trevor earlier, Representative Lachica has introduced HB 1781, also known as the Hawaii Numeracy Act, which has a lot of DOE support in its effort to provide 16 math coaches to the state of Hawaii, 1 for each complex that will help teachers implement teaching math curriculum better while simultaneously helping to address the statewide issue on low math scores. As we continue to go through the legislative process, we ask that the board and community members support in providing testimony, either written or in person, which will be vital to ensuring our state education system receives the necessary services and supports needed to run more efficiently for our keiki and for their families. That is it for me. I know it was a lot. I'm here to take back any questions anyone may have.
Thank you, Tosa. Members of the board, members of the public, are there any questions for TOSA from Representative LaChica's office? I see Anne has her hand up. Go ahead, Anne.
Yeah, so you didn't mention SB 3024. Is that crossed over to you? The sex discrimination bill?
No, so we haven't had any bills cross over yet.
Okay. Is there a House version of that?
I'm not quite sure. Sorry, you said it's SB.
So it's protection. It's Title IX, protections against sex-based discrimination,
Okay.
which
Sorry,
includes online bullying.
Could you repeat the SB number? Sorry,
SB 3024.
3024. Okay, I can follow up with you. I'm not quite sure off the top of my head. That doesn't sound familiar. And I feel like it hasn't crossed over yet.
It
So
hasn't been heard in its second committee, so who knows if it will even make it there. But yeah.
Okay, yeah,
I'd like to know if
get
there's
that
a House
follow-up to you.
version of that and what's going on with that.
Perfect. Yeah, I can do
Okay.
that for you for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
Looks like the Senate bills haven't crossed in the House and the House hasn't crossed in the Senate yet.
Yeah,
So-
not yet. We're not there yet, but we will be soon.
Great. Any questions from the board or the public? Okay. Seeing and hearing none. Thank you so much, TOSA.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.
Okay. And I see Representative Peruso's online. Welcome.
Aloha. First, to an earlier question about gambling and what was referred to as a board, there is a working group that was established by the legislature. I think that's what the community member is referring to. And there are members of the gambling industry on that working group. So that's likely what she's referring to. So, hi. I also just want to kind of jump into where we are in session. We are headed right now into a 5-day recess. So essentially the back-end committees, primarily the Judiciary Committee and Finance, will be completing their work over the 5-day recess. And we have a full days planned. But I think the rest of the members are most likely going to be in their communities. And I think that, there are just a couple bills. Our office still has quite a few bills moving, but there are just a couple I wanted to make this community in particular, aware of. So one of those is House Bill 2007, which will increase the value of the household and dependent care tax credit. And I think that that's really important because we know that working families are struggling. So that's likely to be heard, we think, on March 3rd by the Finance Committee. And similarly, we expect the Judiciary Committee to hear House Bill 2369 shortly, and that is really related to true cost for providers working with social service providers working with the judiciary. And so we know in our communities that much of the reason that we struggle to retain strong social service provision in our communities is because the pay is so low and the compensation for these nonprofits is so low. So we're really trying to address that with this bill. So with those two bills, I'm hoping that we can really address some concrete material issues that are affecting our communities. And I would say the only other thing I want to mention is I'll be headed to DC as part of a small delegation from Hawaii, where I was invited as someone, as member of the PACE Commission, but also as a result of my work on civic education. And this is essentially a national civic education conference. So I will be out of town for just a few days, but I'll be back shortly thereafter. And I'm available for questions.
Thank you, Representative Peruso. Members of the board, members of the public, are there any questions for Representative Peruso tonight? Okay. Thank you so much for your report.
Thank you.
Okay, it's 8:44. We're going to go into announcements. Our next board meeting will be held next month on Wednesday, March 25th, here at Mililani High School H Building and online at 7 p.m. We have some presentations from HECO, as well as a service award from Josie as well. And you can catch this meeting on online on YouTube and at through our agenda, as well as on Olelo Channel 49 and Olelo Channel 54. With that, it is 8:45. We are adjourned.